So, a few new things worth mentioning. One, Geico can suck it. Ugh. Yes, I just dismissed a notification with my nose. I'm not going to press that button with it, though. It's 11:21 on a Wednesday. And before breakfast even happened, I got to have two lovely conversations with Geico. So, as I've mentioned before, my license is suspended. It's been suspended for quite some time. I have an FRA suspension. Well, this last time made the process towards reinstatement like way difficult. So I've been working on it for a year now. Anybody who's got an FRA suspension will totally know what I mean. Anybody who's ever been pulled over for driving without insurance will totally know what I mean. So all of the drama that I could go into aside, because ain't no one got time for that. I just took a shower, so my hair is doing something weird. Anyway, that's gonna bug me when I go over the video. Hold on. Whatever. Geico sent a notice in the mail, and this is the second time that they've sent it. So, my fiance re-ups his car insurance for a year at a time, typically right at tax season. And this year he had to add me to the policy because they needed to file an SR22 bond. And his insurance went up a lot. I guess I should say our insurance now, but insurance went up a lot. But I needed the SR22 bond so that I could get to the next step in validating my license, which at the time still seemed pretty feasible. And then it wasn't until like 2 months later that we realized his policy's been active with me on it, but there hasn't been an SR22 bond filed. So he had to pay for the SR22 bond to file with the state. He did that. I watched for another 2 weeks and it still wasn't filed with the state, so I called Geico and I'm like, look, like, this is the situation. Last time we spoke, you said you were going to file it, blah, blah, blah. And they were like, it appears to be on file in our system. And I'm like, oh, really? Because I've been watching like a hawk my state, Ohio State BMV website to make sure that it gets filed. And it's not yet. And it's been 2 weeks. And then I also told them that we got a notice in the mail saying that my license is suspended and they are going to discontinue insurance unless I send them proof of a valid license. Well, I can't get a valid license without the SR22 bond. And they said, no, we wouldn't have sent anything like that, blah, 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 blah. So after arguing with them and searching my entire freaking living room for this piece of paper, I finally gave up and said, look, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to call the Ohio State Board of Motor Vehicles right now. And if the SR22 bond has been filed, they'll be able to tell me that it's on file. But the last time I talked to them, they said that it wasn't. So if they say that it's not on file, I'm going to be calling back and I'm going to be really, really off the wall pissed. So I hung up and I did exactly that. I called the BMV. This was a while ago. This is like a month ago, maybe. This is a long time ago. It was like a month and a half ago, maybe. But in any case, I called them and they said, it appears that your SR22 bond is on file. It reached us to be filed today. And I'm like, that... So the Geico representative was talking so down to me in such a rude manner about the whole thing, making me feel like I was going crazy. Like, we filed that forever ago. We would have never sent you a notice like that, blah, 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 blah. And the entire time, they're staring at a screen that shows that they effed up. So they filed it. Well, since it got filed, the SR22 bond was filed, I was like, bygones be bygones, right? Like, it's whatever. It's whatever. Bygones be bygones. So I let it go. I'm like, the SR22 bond is on file now. Everything else is fine. Now I can move on to the next step of the process of validating my license. Testing under suspended license, which I already have the permission for. And then I have to go to the court to ask for driving privileges and payment plan with the BMV for the rest of my reinstatement. My reinstatement's like $2,500, and I do have one case that qualifies for the amnesty program, but it doesn't qualify until the end of this month. So, hold on. I'm like shaking hardcore right now, so I'm trying to figure out a way to hold the phone so that I'm not shaking as much. Anyway, I'm still shaking. This is like incredibly annoying. Hold on a sec. I'm gonna try to do something. Fix this problem. So we're gonna do that. Hold on just a second. I'm being innovative. I'm on my back porch. Being innovative here. Okay, let's do that. Okay. Anyway, so let's do that. Okay. Anyway, so I might keep it like that. Anyway, so we got the notice in the mail again today that was the exact same notice that they said they absolutely don't send, right? They were telling me I was crazy, and I couldn't find the piece of paper at the time, so I just left it at that. Well, they sent a notice again that says that my license is suspended, and unless I can send them proof of a valid license, they're going to drop my insurance. I need the SR22 bond and my insurance filed in order to get my license valid. I have a court date at the end of July for a review hearing on the whole thing where I'm going to be able to ask for driving privileges and the like, right? And the court always schedules things like that 2 months out, right? Like, you typically can't call the courts and be like, I need a court date in the next 3 weeks, because that's not how it works. You have to be put on the docket by their choosing on their timeline. So I'm talking to the Geico rep, and I'm like, look, I'm going to try to stay as civil as possible here, but this situation is incredibly frustrating. So I explained the notice that I got, and I said that my fiance was going to find a different car insurer if you can't guarantee that my SR22 bond is going to just remain on file. Like, we're paying you. Like, I'm paying you, you filed it, we haven't fallen behind on a payment. Like, why am I getting a notice saying that you are going to arbitrarily stop insuring me because my license isn't valid when I can't get my license valid without being insured? And I'm going over and over and over on all this, and the first woman that I talked to, she got so snippy. Oh my god, she got so snippy with me. And I started saying, I'm like, look, I realize that this situation doesn't mean nothing to Geico. I'm like, but I have to go in front of a judge to get to the next step of this process. And that judge is telling me that I need to get an SR22 bond before I can get in front of him to do this next step of the process. Like, if I show up in court and my SR22 bond has lapsed, he's not even going to consider giving me driving privileges or set up a payment plan for my reinstatement fees. Like, this has to happen first. And he's already been in court telling me, like, why don't you just file it? Why haven't you filed it yet? Why are you waiting until the last minute? Why haven't you filed it yet? That's what he's telling me. So I'm talking to the Geico rep, and I'm like, and you're telling me that you can't keep my SR22 bond and insurance on file unless my license is valid. So what am I supposed to do here? I can't go to court to get my license valid without the SR22 bond, and you're telling me I can't keep my SR22 bond unless my license is valid. I'm like, something's got to give here. Like, what the hell? So she got real snippy with me and real pissed, and I'm like, well, then you know what? My fiance is probably just going to cancel the policy, and we're going to go be insured by somebody else. I got so pissed. I think the first call is where I had said, and this is probably a little bit rude, but I don't care. I said, I'm like, look, your whole purpose is to take my money and cover me in insurance. Like, that is your purpose. You're getting your money. We're not withholding anything. We're not paying or things, whatever. We're giving you a lot of money, and my fiance's insurance went up a ton when adding me to the policy, so you're getting a lot of money to just keep this thing on file. Like, your only job is to just continue to cover. Like, you're getting your money, and you're supposed to cover me. And they're like, no, that's not what we do. And I'm like, what do you mean that's not what you do? You're an insurance company. You don't do anything else. You take money, and you provide a superfluous, like, up in the cloud coverage just in case something happens. That's literally all you do. Like, that is what you do. What do you mean you don't just... I'm like, you're taking my money. You need to keep my policy open. Like, that is literally the only purpose of your company, is to take my money and cover me. Like, and she was like, no, that's not our responsibility, blah, blah, blah. I was like, oh my god. By the time that happened in the conversation, I was like, I don't even know what to say in response to you right now. I don't even know what to say in response to that. You literally just told me your purpose is not just to take my money and cover me in insurance. Like, what the fucking hell else are you for? So I got mad and I hung up. And I composed myself. And I tried to explain the nature of the conversation in a messenger to Doug. And it just wasn't, I couldn't wrap my head around it. So I called back. And I was like, maybe you'll be able to answer my question a little bit better than the last person I spoke to who, like, lost her ever-loving mind on me. But I'm not going there. I'm like, here's my situation. And I broke it down again. And I explained. I'm like, I can't get my license valid without an SR22 bond on file. And you are telling me you can't put an SR22 bond on file unless my license is valid. Like, that you're going to revoke it because my license is invalid. I'm like, I have spent a year trying to solve this thing. I was like, every step of the process has taken forever. I can't make the courts give me a court date for this arbitrarily. I'm like, I have a court date at the end of July, and I need to know that I have an SR22 bond on file when I walk in that courtroom. Or I can't get my license valid. That is where I'm at. Flat out. Like, you not filing my SR22 bond is what is going to ensure I cannot get a valid license. I'm like, so there's a disconnect here. Like, where is it? So she tells me, get this. She tells me, I don't like the way that lighting is on. Tells me that they only allow for 20 days of an SR22 bond for me to show proof of a valid license. 20 days. Just so you can break this down, 20 days? 20 days? I'm going to try to move this again because I'm still not getting the lighting or whatever that I want. I was like, so what you're telling me is you cannot extend that 20 days. That policy is just flat out 20 days. I have 20 days. Fuck this. There, fine, whatever. I have 20 days, according to you, to do the next letter. Oh, goodness. Okay, anyway. Ugh, I've interrupted the story so many times. So I told her, I'm like, so she asked me when my court date was, and I said my court date's at the end of July, and she said, well, we cannot extend our policy on the SR22 bond just because your court date falls outside of it. And I'm like, I can't go to court unless I have an SR22 bond on file, and I can't change the court date, and the court date was always going to be 2 months out from the last time I fucking talked to you people. Like, seriously, I've got no control over that. So I went off on her again. And she literally just kept repeating. She's like, well, then, this is the kicker. The Geico representative said, well, then, I guess you'll have to get a policy covered by somebody else. It just blows my mind. It just blows my mind. Geico's saying that they can't issue me an SR22 bond unless I show proof of a valid license. I can't get a valid license without an SR22 bond. They're saying their policy says they only allow for a 20-day grace period after filing it, which they filed 3 months after the policy technically started. And they're telling me that they don't just take money and insure people. Like, that's the gist of it. That's everything that was said. Like, none of it makes sense. So, I got really upset. I decided to call Denison Courts to ask them what I should do. Because I'm like, I've got to be missing something. I've got to be missing something here. So, I called the Denison Courts, and I talked to somebody, and she's talking to me like I'm fucking stupid, and I'm making up excuses, and I'm trying to make it complicated. And finally, she, like, stopped for a second, and she heard me out when I said that they only gave me 20 days past filing the SR22 bond to keep it on file or drop me from the policy. She's like, do they know how court dates work? And I'm like, right? So, like, I'm not just insane? Because at this point, I kind of feel like I'm insane. At this point, you know, there's that saying, like, if a situation continues to go wrong, the blame, or you blame the common denominator, and the common denominator in all of these, like, random situations is me, right? So I'm like, I'm the only common denominator in all of this issue with fucking getting my license valid, so I've got to be doing something wrong, right? Like, I got to be missing something. I'm missing something. Because the judge is saying, just file your SR22 bond already, and Geico is saying they can't get my SR22 bond, or keep my SR22 bond on file unless I have a valid license. I'm missing something. So she finally stopped, the woman at the courthouse finally stopped and listened to me, and she was like, it sounds like you just got to get a different insurance company. She's like, I've never heard of of any insurance company saying that. She's like, you can't just call and request a court date that's within a 20-day period. And I'm like, right? So I'm not insane then. So I'm not insane. Like, this is a real thing, and I'm not insane. So, moral to the story is Geico freaking sucks. And we gotta find a new insurance company. And I'm stuck in limbo again, trying to fucking dot my I's and cross my T's and just have a valid license. But at this point, man, it's not even freaking worth it. At this point, it is so not worth it. Like, I'm tired of going in front of a judge and having a judge look at me and speak to me as though I'm doing my damnedest to make it difficult. And I'm not. I'm just trying to check the boxes, man. I'm just trying to check the boxes. So I told her, I'm like, if I came into court and I don't have an SR22 bond on file, I'm like, would I still stand a chance of getting driving privileges and the payment plan with the BMV? And she said no. I have to have the SR22 bond on file when I request those things, or it won't even be considered. And I'm like, so when my SR22 bond should have been filed and just fucking stayed on file since March, it wasn't actually filed until last month, and now they're telling me that they're going to revoke the filing because they have a 20-day policy for me to get my license valid, or they just don't cover me anymore. I can't be the only one that thinks that this is just insane. Like, I'm legitimately starting to feel crazy at this point. Like, I've got to be doing something wrong. But the courts are telling me I'm doing everything the way that I'm supposed to. And they're actually pretty apologetic for the fact that it's so complicated. They're literally like, I've never known of somebody to have that much complication with that. And I'm like, well, do you have an insurance company that you can, like, suggest so that I can try to find the easy route here? Because I can't keep going through this. Like, it takes a while for that type of stuff to go on file. It only takes 2 seconds for them to take it back off file. And we've spent stupid money on car insurance that wasn't even at a capacity that I could move forward with. So much wasted time, so much wasted money, so much wasted effort, and all I want to do is have a SR22 bond on file. Like, it cannot be that complicated. It cannot be that complicated. Like, the courts make it seem like I'm making a big deal out of this, and I'm, honest to God, just trying to make this baby step work. Like, so, we will definitely be getting a different insurance policy because there's no sense in trying to fight Geico on this insane policy of theirs. And I can't make the timetables move in any different type of direction. So, I'm back at square one with the SR22 bond, and I'm just praying, man, praying so hard that I can find a way that this just stops being an issue, because I'm not even sure it's going to be worth the expense to have a valid license, because I don't work. I'm a stay-at-home mom, so I don't need to drive. We've adapted our life over the whole last year with me not driving. I haven't gotten behind the wheel of a vehicle in over a year, because I'm trying to do all the right things here. I'm trying to do all the right things. And every step of the way is just like, I feel like it's one big old sign that's just like, just don't drive. Just don't. Just find a way to be content without being able to drive anywhere, ever. But I'm so tired. This whole ordeal has been so exhausting, and I don't know. Geico sucks. I don't know. If you have a better insurance company to make a recommendation, put it in the comments below, please, please, please. If you have had any other issues with SR22 bonds from any insurance companies, please, please let me know so I can avoid those companies entirely, because there's just, I don't have the time. I don't have the time to keep going through this. So if you have anything positive, And definitely, if you have anything negative to say about an insurance company that you know of, please put it in the comment section below. That would be so incredibly helpful for me. And I'm sure something will come up again that'll end up on the vlog, because it always does. It's like the one constant I can count on, that nothing is gonna go just right. So, oh hell.